And through that process though, and especially here, and we really want to get into that truth telling, that thing up there, when every time I drive past that, reminds me of the massacre of the 40 people in behind. Straight in behind, and I don't know why we have to have this sculpture that is of a man sitting on a horse holding a gun with bullets and a hat.
G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. This one, as you know, if you watched the last episode, you saw I just chopped it in half, and the reason I did that was because I was, hang on, I'm on a bit of a tight track here, was because I was leaving to film season 8. Oh, you guys should have seen that in the mirror. Look at this. I'm up here filming season 8 in Cape York. I've just got here, so you guys are probably going to be seeing this in 2 days time. I think today's Wednesday, which is the first time I've ever done this, where basically I think I'm going to be 2 or 3 weeks in front, so I'm going to try and keep editing and uploading as I'm on the road. But yeah, I chopped last week's in half because the second part of the episode deserves its own episode. I met a lady by the name of Suzanne Thompson and her husband Graham. Amazing people, absolutely amazing people. We just clicked, and I've been out to their property now several times. Suzanne is an Iningai woman living out there on Iningai Country, which is central Queensland. So at the moment I'm up in far northern Australia in Cape York, as far as you can go in Queensland. Whereas this country that you're about to see is central Queensland, directly inland from, well not directly, but like inland from Rockhampton. Beautiful country, but very different to here. Now, Tarabara, which is where Suzanne and Graham are based. So, Tarabara is a place that, like this country I'm in right now, demands respect, it demands attention. It tells an ancient story like nowhere else in Australia, but the story it's telling is of Australia. It is one of the oldest stories in the world, written on this wall, engraved into this wall by ancestors of the oldest living culture in the world. So this story is very special, and Suzanne has it there at her fingertips. She's still trying to decipher, because of what happened to Indigenous people with the stolen generation and massacres and, you know, the war throughout colonisation. A lot of the storytellers, a lot of that knowledge has been lost. So it's up to people like Suzanne and Uncle Vincent, Johnny up here in Western Yallinji, people all around, Aboriginal people all around Australia, to try and rediscover that knowledge, learn those stories again that are engraved in these walls and painted in these walls, so they can share it with the world, share their history, their ancestors with the world. And that is exactly what Suzanne's doing. So this place, I'm gonna stop talking. This place is Iningai Country, and it really holds a very special place in my heart. And I'm showing you it now as a bit of a preview to something that I'm going to film in season 9, which is everything that's engraved in the story wall up there in Iningai Country is the story of the 7 sisters. The 7 sisters is a story, I suppose, from my understanding at the moment, of trade routes throughout all the nations in Australia and going to the epicentre, which is Uluru. The 7 Sisters story can be found in bits all around Australia. All the tribes around Australia have part of the story, and they have paintings on their walls, or they have landscape, things in the landscape that depict part of this 7 Sisters story. And I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that out there at Iningai Country is the only place where the whole story is etched in this wall. So it's a very special wall, and I want to take you all there in season 9. We're gonna go back there. We're gonna sit with Sue. She's going to explain the whole wall, her and Uncle Vincent, and then we're going to follow the journey of the 7 sisters out to Uluru, out to the epicentre of Australia, and really dive deep into culture. So this is a bit of a teaser.
story. When we say Old Testament, that's a story that was written in stone.
Most men and women here, I reckon. The water holes down there. And the preparation room. The preparation for your ceremony is the most important part, eh? Preparing your paint, the singing while you're painting the bodies and all that type of thing. That's what happens here, I reckon.
Up in here. So this is where they prepare for a ceremony, but where would they have the ceremony?
Oh, sorry, it's just around there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll go after. Wow. Wow, they're so perfect the way it's...
Yeah.
So much of it as well.
We see some of these, when we see the little drill holes, they're stars. Does this start to tell us that something that happened at a certain time of the year when the stars were sitting at this position in the sky, in this constellation, and this is what happened? Orion's belt and the seven sisters, that there it was this constellation right between the two of them. And so this whole wall, so of course we've only now gone 10 metres, 20 metres, so this whole thing, and we've still got 100 and something to go, the whole lot of it has so much story in it, and it's going to take a month of Sundays to sit, study it, figure it out and retell it. But what we do know is that there is big more story. The emu's up there telling us business. Telling us, hey, I'm out looking for my mate. Hey, I found my mate. Now we're going to have some eggs. Now I'm going to sit on my eggs. Now I'm going to get up because I've had my babies and I'm going to go walking. So it can tell us all of that, which tells us when to hunt and a whole lot of other things within that. This one is the summer one. So this is the river in the sky, or the serpent in the sky, and there's stories that talk about him up there in the sky. There's all these things that tell us. But also, what this one is telling us, because the stars, this becomes here our nighttime map, which is our daytime map. So the stars are telling us the map of the land as well. So when you have that knowledge of spring to spring to spring, water hole to water hole, that's what this starts to tell you with the stars. So that teaches you there's a rule around that. Proper rule. Who you can do it with. How far they should be removed from you. 5 generations removed. How we understood the intricacy of our marriage system, why we should marry who. All of that stuff to balance out for thousands and thousands of years. What a nudie! He thought it was proper deadly and his magic sticks. Magic boomerangs. As he chased them sisters across the sky. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sisters. As it shapeshifted, chased them right across the sky. Here's a spirit man calling them up, and he could shapeshift. He could be the snake. He could be whatever he wanted to be. Half man, half animal, everything. Trickster he was. Proper trickster. He was going to have them all. Is when you come here, Tarabara is a place where we reawaken the children's dreaming time. Because as children, we could see things and sense things, but we were told, don't be silly. No, turn the light off. No, you can't see that. So we got rid of that. That took away that ability to do that. Our first sense, which our spiritual sense, which connects us. So this place is about how we reawaken that. Because it's not the place of possibilities, it's the places of reality.
up here.
Yeah? So you're taking all that out?
Wow. These reeds are from here. Nature needs a hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And you also provide for the animals.
Natural dams.
Yeah.
So this is something for thousands of years your people would be doing, is upkeeping all these places?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Like working with the land.
Yeah, working with the land, cleaning it out, maintaining it. As you can see up there, you can see all the kangaroo tracks and all that there coming down, settling out. And ngabbachi. Yeah, you're helping. You give me, I give you. And that's what the land's doing. You maintain the land, I'll give you back. Bring the animals, you're going to get the feed. When Gra and I was doing some work, right at lunch, 2 porcupine, big fat bastard come. No, I'm not going to poor buggers. Like the old people say, here, you're doing work here, you're doing a couple of days. Ngabbachi.
And see how it's snapped?
Yeah, like it's dry.
But not only that, when they snap, that tells us it's a medicine plant.
Yeah, really?
And all them little things we're taught, because we used to go through harvest, snap. So the plant has had thousands of years of adapting to knowing what its purpose was and how snap, because over thousands of generations we're pruning bush and country. I know it's deadly, isn't it?
I want to ask you a few questions. One, this place here behind us, this escarpment looks like travelling through this country, it is so flat, and when you get to an escarpment country like this, it's obviously, a place that would hold water, that would hold animals, food, that kind of thing. So it was a special place for your people.
It's a bit like that, when you look out. Very much. It was a really important place, but I think not only just for my people, I'd say way back in ancient times, it was a resting place, because it was, if we think about land type and formation of land type, it was like the estuaries off the edge of an ocean, because we know the ancient inland sea was just out there. So it was those estuaries that come through. For us though, the red soil, there's a lot of medicine plants, a lot of food plants, and definitely though more so with these escarpments, and especially when we start talking about what we've been talking about is our law story and our Seven Sisters story. This area was very special as far as holding the vault for that story that is told, as we know, that length of that wall, with the thousands of etchings that talk about this whole law story that was told and etched when all of the continents were connected. But in that time though, and of course there were custodians and protectors and keepers of the place, and we know that the atrocities and things that happened to our people, why there's not a lot of Iningai people, and of course we know of those atrocities, and usually those atrocities were done innocently, from both parties, in the sense of I don't know if they ever set out, sometimes I think they did, but that ill intention, or when they were accused of something, it was for us, our people, it was payback, and payback for us was part of law. You expected it. But I think when white fella come, I thought they might have thought, oh, you've been a bit nasty to me, I've got to fix you up. Because they had different law. And that other law was, we've got a policeman that's going to come and grab you and lock you up. And through that process though, and especially here, and we really want to get into that truth telling, that thing up there, when every time I drive past that, reminds me of the massacre of the 40 people in behind. Straight in behind, and I don't know why we have to have this sculpture that is of a man sitting on a horse, holding a gun with bullets and a hat. I don't think, the artist says it was a lonely soldier, but it reminds us of what happened. The main street of Aramac reminds us of what happened, because it's actually named after a man by the name of Gordon, and he was the man, when you understand the story of the massacre and how it happened, shot the first bullet. When you think of how unfair it was for our people, being rounded up, put into caves, and they can't get out, and then they're standing above of this big blowhole, firing bullets down at them, And then to get rid of all of the bones, and so there's no evidence, it's burn them. So they burnt the bodies. And that's why I think we find that there's not a lot of, remains in a lot of these places. And people find when they go bushwalking, they get this vibe and feel. And so that was what they did. But, bullets don't burn. So we can always see, and that's where confirming then, the number perhaps, or the evidence of this was the actual location. Driving past that gorge of a place that once was very much a magical place of ceremony, of talking about our law stories, of teaching, and of providing abundance of food and those things. But that reminds us of what gets taken away from, or what was taken away from us.
But it once was a place of beauty and abundance, and then the atrocities. But now you're back and bringing back, Taraba, Yachara.
And standing up and saying, hey, you?
Yeah.
How come you're sitting up there?
Yeah.
Telling
these stories.
Maybe we got to put a sign up on that to tell the truth.
Yeah.
So it's not so much a mystery of this man sitting on, and perhaps we can say the artist has an interpretation, but I think we need to start placing truth-telling signs out. And we are turning this into a beautiful, magical wonderland again of that sharing of story, and the whole law story and whatnot, which is something that we want everybody to learn and perhaps take a trip on and journey and learn about that.
Yeah, we all have so much to learn.
We do.
That there could be thousands of years old. It's got a serrated edge on it. The old people would have made this for a knife. And the whole floor here is scattered in them.
Burnt all the wood and all that type of thing and kept it clean.
Yep.
The ceremonial grounds are here and just over there at the site. My phone.
Guys, I want to give you all a hot tip on maps, because I know that I get so many questions about people who are obviously pausing in the episodes and looking in and seeing the maps that I use on my phone when I'm on the quad bike in the middle of nowhere. Now, this isn't an ad, I'm obviously not sponsored by any map companies, but it's just really, it's a useful bit of info for you. So what I'll do, I use HEMA maps, which are really good, but what I've been doing the last few seasons is just in Google Maps, you can go down to the search bar at the bottom, type in an area, or go to that area just by moving through the screen and then zooming in, scrolling into an area of country that you want to explore, and then you hit the three dots. I don't know what that's called, like the menu, the 3 dots. It'll come up, and then you can go down and click download map. So you will then download, make sure you've got enough room on your phone and clear anything else that's downloaded on there already. Download that section of map, and then when you go offline, you can then utilize that map, and it's pretty good. Like I go into the satellite imagery part of it, so it's not just tracked, it's actually, topography and tracks and all sorts of stuff. You see the lay of the land, and you can then zoom in and out offline, and you can see where you are moving through that country offline, which I find really helpful. It shows me salt pans, high ridges, where the river is, things like that, so that you can move through the country safely on a quad bike most of the time and not get bogged. Just saw something on the track to show you guys. There's a good snake. Nope, that's a wallaby. No, where is it? I saw something.
Anyone would think you knew what you were doing.
I don't. Don't let the look on my face fool you. I actually don't know what I'm doing.
Just to let you know, also this will be the opportune time to crash it for a second time. He's already crashed it once today, but he blamed the wind.
You're going to hit the on button on top there, mate? You're not recording.
Just to let people know that Nathan doesn't really know what he's doing.
This is what it takes to capture this.
As I turn around and he sees that it's actually got the record button going, so he fully gets under pressure.
I'm taking a piss, and he took that hook, line and sinker.
See, look, he thinks he's a smart ass, right? So.
Alright. And that, Nigel,
That's all
It's
there
how you
is to
change
it.
your propellers on your drone.